want to make a difference.
Make ready, let's go!
Risk your life for a better world. But some things you never see coming.
Security's early.
First Cobra was rising, now they're retaliating.
Ooh. Wait. I think it's G.I. Joe that's retaliating.
Yeah.
Because Cobra's pretty much just taking over.
Yeah,
well,
right.
Cobra's kicking ass and taking names.
That's what I thought. But in the intro, they say Cobra is retaliating.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Well,
they do.
And that all happens in the first 15 minutes or so of the film, and then they've risen. So for the rest of the movie is the other G.I. Joe.
I'm sorry I
Strikes
brought
Back.
it up because does it even matter?
No.
what they doing?
It does not.
I mean,
no, after you see this movie, none of it matters.
Honestly, what they've made here is an adaptation of the Saturday morning cartoon. Loyally, with everything that goes with that, to the point there's even a moment where they go, all right, let's go hole up in the rec center. And seriously, who didn't expect them to have a bunch of kids there going, hey kids, we got to tell you some life.
Oh yeah,
it was so much like the cartoon.
Kid, what you run across the street so fast for? You don't get hit like that. But
it's interesting you say that because I kind of don't agree with that. I really don't.
I kind of don't either, but okay.
Really? You don't see that? All the goofiness is there, all the like ridiculous soap opera-y elements that go on with the characters changing sides and everything. I mean, it was like, wow, this is so much more like it than the last
you know what?
movie.
You are right and you are wrong.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why, because I agree with you that this did capture the essence of the cartoon.
I thought so.
Completely.
Completely.
I mean, in the cartoon was dumb. This was dumb. You know what I mean? But they captured it in the sense that you look at this and you wonder how they're going to make it work where guys who wear masks and trench coats and can change their face and have goofy names, how can they come in and terrorize the government? And in a way, they managed to make it believable in a live action cartoon. I mean, believable in the sense of this world that they created. Now,
even then,
I'm not looking. You taking it as a defense. I'm not defending. I'm just saying I saw where they captured the essence of the cartoon for whatever it's worth. Whatever hipsters out there really want to see this and they have nostalgia for it. But where you're wrong is that when they shoot somebody, they actually hit something.
Yeah.
Well, there is that.
I mean, the movie starts off, it distinguishes itself from the cartoon in that there's consequences right off the bat. Like from early in the movie, there's people getting killed. And I was like, all right, now this is what I want to see in a goddamn G.I. Joe movie. Yeah. But
not just a G.I. Joe movie, but a goddamn G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hearing some things you guys are saying. I mean, I'll wait to comment on it, but it's kind of throwing me off a little bit.
I'm gonna do something.
It's throwing me off too.
I'm gonna do something that's crazy here. Before we talk about the plot, our characters, or any of our opinions about the movie, I'm just too curious to know what it is that's on your mind right now.
Well, the idea of
you
talking
look real
about
frustrated.
Well,
I
do because it's like, you know, he's like, oh, guys in trench coats fighting and taking over the government and how implausible it is. I'm like, all right, you did walk into this knowing it was G.I. Joe, which is based on a cartoon that's based on a toy, right? I mean, this not a sequel to the Gerard Butler movie.
At any point they go, Hasbro presents.
Yeah.
You go, okay, I'm lowering the bar.
Well, that's what this is. I mean, I don't always want to be that guy who go like, what you think this was, but come on. No, that is what this is.
But I'm not arguing with you on
Yeah,
that.
no, actually, I don't disagree with that either. I mean, when I say it's just like the cartoon, I don't actually mean that in a completely critical way.
Oh, okay. All right.
But you know,
that's what's throwing me off.
But when you mention that it's like the cartoon, you know, I was never a big G.I. Joe fan, but I do remember watching the cartoon and actually realizing that, wow, there's a lot of shit going on every minute of that cartoon. There's something exciting happening. There's a villain and there is a hero. This was all over the goddamn place. And I was like, okay, you know, from the trailer, it seemed like you already had the most simplest plot that you could have made for a G.I. Joe movie. But when the actual movie takes place, it's like a big jumbled mess of a story trying to get to a specific plot that you imagine, you know, that's how the movie should start from the get-go, and it doesn't get there. It takes time.
Are you sure, co-host?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Wait a minute, co-host, you said something there.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned plot.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, why don't we go into that?
The plot, such as it is.
Yeah, now, see, this is what I like about it. I mean, you don't expect anything from the last movie to really be consistent with this one.
Not at all.
They got rid of a lot of people from the last movie. They don't even explain why. They just come in and say Duke is taking over a new infantry of soldiers, and they have to fight Cobra now. Well, in the last movie, if you remember, Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Previously on G.I. Joe.
Previously on G.I. Joe. Now, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he became Cobra Commander.
Right.
He ain't here. You don't need him because he's got
he might be here. It's like he's not, but they should. When you finally see Cobra Commander, it's so like, wait, look over there. What's that? Okay, now he's got his mask.
Well, yeah, they managed to put so much shit and rubber and prosthetics on Joseph Gordon-Levitt's face at the end of the last movie where they could get anybody to do it. And on top of that, his face is covered up most of the film too, with a metal mask and a hood and that badass trench coat.
Oh, that was a badass.
That's a nice trench coat.
But in this, and what you have is the last one we saw him, Destro, they were captured, they were in prison. Now in this movie we have Storm Shadow who comes in and he's on a rescue mission, pretty much our prison break mission to get them out of imprisonment. When he takes them out, of course, what are they gonna do? Cobra just says, I don't even know why it's like this, but Cobra just says, I just want to fucking rule the world.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get it. But
simple enough.
That's always been their plan.
Yeah.
But another big thing from the end of the last movie was that Zartan used his master disguise powers to take over as the president of the United
and
States.
he's still disguised as the president.
he's the president.
So that happened at the end of the last one because I barely remember the last one.
So Zartan is still president.
Well, here he's Jonathan Price playing
and Jonathan Price was president in the last one.
And what's his the actual actor who plays Zartan, the mummy?
Vosloo.
Yeah, who's like, he got a paycheck for showing up and not even moving twice. In this film.
I know, because the guy still disguised as the president. So when you have a guy who is pretty much disguised as the president in the White House, they can start to do a takeover from within the White House. And what it pretty much ends in, and this is what I mean about taking a cartoon and putting it in a movie. I always like it, as goofy as it is. I always like it that an evil supervillain with an evil organization can get all the leaders of the world into one room and say, fuck all y'all. and they do that. You do that in cartoons. That's
right.
And that's what they do. And that's pretty much what they do here. Yeah. Of course, it's up to the G.I. Joes to come in and stop.
Well, now, more importantly, with Zartan as president, he issues some orders that turns on the Joes, like kills most of them and then disgraces them on TV. It says man, the Joes really, they betrayed us. They committed treason. They killed the president of Pakistan, and now we had to hunt them down.
And that's how they thought G.I. Joe by turning the country against them, saying, man, these assholes, see, I told you they weren't no good. Look at them running.
We knew it was going to happen someday.
They ain't shit.
Thank God we were prepared for this.
Yeah.
America. And then let's not forget that there's a whole nother giant subplot in here with Snake Eyes and with
Storm Shadow.
And the girl who's with him. I'm trying to remember
Jinx.
him. Yeah, Jinx, trying to hunt down Storm Shadow in wherever the fuck, Tibet or some shit. I don't know. Fighting tons of
a lot of snow and mountains.
Flying around mountains. That's a whole nother movie inside
on
this
Mount
movie.
what the fuck?
That was clearly an excuse just to have a cool-ass ninja fight on the side of a mountain.
It was, indeed. And I, for one, do not begrudge them that choice.
Well, there's certain things that I really do like about this movie, and there's a lot of it that I'm pretty much just frustrated with, because I felt like it's just half-assed throughout most of it. But what I like about it is the casting. I mean, co-host, I used to watch G.I. Joe every day after school. So I know some of these characters, and that's one of the things that I didn't like about the first movie, which was a big success, and even some critics were saying, "Hey, it's dumb and it's fun."
Yeah, but some of those critics were us.
But I was that asshole where I said, Duke, Channing Tatum, that's the wrong choice of casting. That's Duke. What's his name? That Wayans brothers guy,
Marlon
Wayans is in here. I don't get it, but they did some great casting with. I keep wanting to say The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
With Dwayne Johnson as Roadblock. If you know Roadblock, Roadblock is black in the series, but he really does look like Roadblock.
Close enough.
Close enough. The only thing that he doesn't do is that he doesn't cook and he doesn't talk in rhyme.
No. Even though
wait a minute. In the cartoon, he talked in rhyme.
Every now and then he talked in rhyme.
Jesus.
Come on, back in the 80s, man. Every black person rapped back then.
Hey, look, Dolomite's not around anymore, so we couldn't have cast him. That's the thing. But Dwayne Johnson is in it. It's hard. And is it me, or is his arms getting fucking bigger and bigger? They look like they're about to give birth.
It's like every movie they put a pump in his ass.
I know, they're fucking huge in this movie.
bunch of little baby rocks coming out of his arms.
I mean, he's standing right next to Channing Tatum, and you're like, wow, Channing Tatum's a small motherfucker compared to The Rock.
True.
You're like, damn.
He's bigger than almost anyone.
But I mean, if you couldn't tell from the trailers, Duke is back in this, and I don't know if anyone remembers that. This movie was supposed to be released when was it? Like last? It was last year.
Well,
right?
right after summer, but after Battleship performed so poorly, they were like, let's go.
Well, the thing is, Magic Mike came out too, so of course, due to his resurgence, Channing Tatum, they decided to go back and shoot a lot of stuff with him to be included in the movie. And I tell you what, you can tell all the extra footage that they shot, that they really crowbarred in there just to get you that sense like, oh, hey, Duke is still here. He's hanging out, doing his thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, these scenes are kind of pointless. And,
really? Because you know what? I forgot all about that. And I like those, that's early in the movie where they set up the chemistry between him and The Rock, where I was just like, I'm actually liking this a lot better than I thought I would. It's giving me an investment in these two guys.
Think about the wind.
4 knots, left, right.
Humidity. I say it's about 62%.
You gonna feed me the barometric pressure too?
That's on the rise. Like your panties.
You love my panties.
That's an interesting choice of a joke.
Okay.
Of all the things you
All
could
right.
say.
Okay, I'm just
You
saying.
love my
Are
panties.
you gonna shut up?
What does that
Are you
mean?
gonna shut up? I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to do something.
I just don't have
Guys,
to.
just shut up.
Just saying.
Just shut up.
How's your heart rate?
That is not gonna count. I get to go again because you talked.
Now I pull the trigger.
honestly didn't think that chemistry really mattered.
Yeah, I didn't think it really
at all.
did either. In fact,
I don't know how you guys can say it didn't matter.
Well, ultimately, it's a film that I thought, like, at first, you're like, here we go. You're just kind of going through the paces. There's really bad editing. It's choppy. None of the fights are that impressive. The dialogue is
Horrendous.
abysmal. I mean, there was a line early on where someone says, I can't remember the character's name. One of the Joes goes, "Extracted? What are we, teeth?" I went, wait, what? Are you serious? There's lines like that peppered through this whole film, and I'm just going, this is going to be a slog. I can already tell. But when it goes full retard, and it eventually does, like the beginning of the second act, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to go as goofy as possible.
Yeah.
There's that point you just kind of go, you know what? I'm kind of with this now. It's dumb to the point that I'm thinking they're looking at this almost like a comedy when they're making this. Like the evil president has his security officers wearing Cobra pins on national television.
Well, but there seemed to be some kind of disconnect, like the world doesn't know that Cobra is a terrorist organization.
Yes, but the entire United States military does.
But there's even that point when he goes like, okay, the Joes turned on us, but we took care of them. But I want to introduce my new security team, which is Cobra.
Yeah, which makes
like,
no
yeah.
sense.
Everybody knew beforehand that Cobra was evil, so why are they advertising that they infiltrated the White House?
Does everybody know?
Yeah.
No, they knew. I mean, at the end of the movie, it was a big fucking underwater battle where a good majority of the military should have known about goddamn Cobra.
Cobra is Al Qaeda by the time this movie comes around.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that.
Listen, I tell you why that chemistry that they're talking about. I tell you why it didn't work, and I'll tell you why it didn't work for a lot of me in this movie. It's because there are people dropping out of this movie, and they're having to work around this. Those scenes with Dwayne Johnson and Channing Tatum, the dialogue between them is just them making really bad jokes together. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that Channing Tatum, he didn't want to be in this movie. He wanted to move on from this because these scenes that they have together, at the very beginning, they're nothing. I mean, there's like those scenes that you're talking about that they filmed in, that they have about 3 scenes together, Dwayne Johnson and Channing Tatum. One is the very beginning of the movie where they have to establish, hey, you're my buddy. Another one is where they're at home playing video games. And another one is, and I don't want to spoil anything here, but you've heard the stories. The last scene is about at the 20-minute mark where they're joking around. All of a sudden there's an attack and Duke gets killed in the most undramatic way.
The most undramatic
I thought he was going
way.
to come back because it was so undramatic the way he was killed.
Yeah, there's a scene.
He gets hit by a truck.
Yeah, there's a scene where you see a truck explode behind him. And I'm like.
And he just disappears.
Yeah, he just disappears. And then there's a body that they go to, and it's honestly the worst death scene I've ever seen on film.
You know what it felt like? Yeah. It felt like Channing Tatum said, y'all got me for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got to 10 o'clock, and he said, I told y'all had me till 10. I got to go home. Come on, Channing, we just got to finish Destiny. Man, I'm gone.
No.
I told y'all I had something to do.
And they got an extra to fill in for him because they don't even show you his face. I mean, you see his body there, but and you see The Rock kind of looking at him like, oh man, it sucks. Oh, better you than me, I guess. And there was no kind of emotion.
You can't even tell it's him, so The Rock has to look at the screen and say, Duke, they killed Duke.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah, but he couldn't even emote that. That was the biggest problem I had was like, okay, we've established that you guys are friends, but he looked at him just like another guy. Like he was just another I honestly thought that's not Duke on the ground. Duke is going to pop up at the end of this movie. That's not the Duke. That thing is, yeah. But that's kind of my frustration with the movie because I did have a lot of fun with the last film. This one though, it just seems like it's so scatterbrained, and I say that in the best way as far as there's moments where we get to see Cobra Commander, but then right after his big scene, you don't see him throughout the entire movie for a good majority of the film until he has to come in and let everyone know, hey, this guy who's pretending to be the president isn't in charge. I am. And scenes like that just kind of come out of nowhere while you're watching the movie.
And I'm going to let you guys talk. I just want to say that that continuing on the casting part of how they just bring people in, which they obviously don't have anymore. They got rid of most of the cast. We already talked about Channing Tatum not wanting to be in the movie. Then they give nods to other people. They say, you're going to get a glimpse of Destro, but they just have to put Destro in there because he's in the last movie. Mm-hmm. They show him in a case when Cobra Commander's walking out, when he's free now. And he just looks back at Destro and says, you're out of the band. And then they blow him up. And so
I love they go, and everyone goes, why?
Yeah. That's
because co-host actually said it right. He said, man, y'all got caught together in the last movie.
They got caught at the same goddamn time. And Cobra Commander gave him that shit, put that helmet on.
And it was cool. And you know why they don't want him? Because they couldn't get Christopher Eccleston. Yeah, they couldn't get him back. He's like, I won't be in that shit anymore. I got other things to do. And so there's obvious reasons why they're just showing you people a glimpse of them, or they're out so quick, and it just feels like you could have ridden your way around not having these actors back a little bit better. I mean, goddamn, Destro is in a mask. You couldn't make him a bigger character and just cast somebody else. They did that with Cobra Commander. That's why
it didn't make any goddamn sense to me. But yeah, with Cobra Commander, he's barely there as a villain, and that was the biggest upset to me because I'm like, the whole first movie you're looking forward to Cobra Commander being who he is, and in this movie it's just like he's Phantom Menace all over again.
Well, I guess I can only come from this from someone who was not really a fan or didn't follow the G.I. Joe stuff really before. Because for me, I'm like, well, what difference does it make? There's like so many villains in this fucking movie already. Now you've got Ray Stevenson in here as Firefly, who's got all these little robot explosive fireflies and the coolest fucking motorcycle scene ever. Holy shit. That was bad.
Somewhere Batman's watching that going like, fuck.
Wait. You mean the motorcycle keeps crashing all the time and blowing up?
That jumps off of and it shoots out like
it turns into a bunch of missiles.
Turns into a series of bottle rockets.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that was cool. I want that motorcycle.
I keep thinking, how is he going to get home?
He's a pretty effective.
You got your cab, man. You got a cell phone.
That's kind of a stupid idea.
He's an effective villain. Storm Shadow, once again, is effective villainish in the film.
Yeah, who's the actor that plays Storm Shadow? Lee Byung-hun. That guy's always been. I thought that was great casting as Storm Shadow.
Agreed. He's pretty good in that role.
Too bad they wasted him.
But like Cobra Commander, wasn't he always kind of just the guy who's like, in the shadows, do this, my minions.
He's
in there in sword fighting.
I swear to God, every complaint you guys have about this movie, I didn't watch the cartoon a lot, but everything you're saying, it's like, that applies to the cartoon.
Yeah,
I was like, this is like a direct port over from that, except people actually got killed in it.
Cobra Commander was in the cartoon a lot. All right, he didn't make cameos.
So were you a fan of the cartoon or you weren't?
No, I wasn't. But I
shut up by saying you were.
Look, I'm not a fan of the cartoon, but I've seen enough episodes. I've seen like a good 6 to 7 episodes to know that when I'm watching something like this, I want the villains to be front and center, not some shitty side villains that nobody even owned the toy of.
Who's the shitty side villain?
Firefly.
And Storm Shadow?
Storm Shadow. Okay,
because I know Zartan was big.
Yeah, Zartan's like the.
Well, Zartan, you don't see him as Zartan. You see him as the old man president. Yeah, I'm like, how exciting is that to me?
And to be fair, I would rather watch Jonathan Pryce any day chewing up the scenery than Arnold Vosloo.
Well, I'm fine with it. Just don't call it G.I. Joe. How about that? You know, it was
You
more.
can have vehicles and Duke and Roadblock.
You know, it was more G.I. Joe than this fucking movie was. It was the goddamn Olympus Has Fallen. That felt more like a G.I. Joe
There was
film
even
than
a
this.
sequence
That's not
where
even a compliment.
There's even a sequence where they shake the toy plane so all the G.I. Joes fall out of it like you do with your toys. You're like, come on. This was totally G.I. Joe.
Nobody came out in a parachute, though.
Yeah, nobody came out in parachutes, and you didn't hear anybody scream, "Yo, Joe!"
Actually, there was a Firefly had a parachute.
Oh, did he?
When he shot that motorcycle off,
Yeah.
he had a parachute on.
Okay, well, cool for him then. Then there you go.
There's your
This is a G.I. Joe
parachutes.
movie. Parachutes and everything. Now, I
Sure.
see. Listen, I don't think that you really hear what he's saying. And I think the points you're making are not so much about the authenticity of whether this is how it translates from the cartoon to the
It's
movie.
not.
It's just that there were just some really shoddy things happening. I mentioned that already, how they just don't explain how certain characters are gone, how they take out certain characters, and the way they take them out. I mean, the way characters should have been featured more in the movie. I mean, that would have made this a better G.I. Joe film. But, I mean, I agree with you. There are some parts where they actually hit the mark with it. I told you, when Cobra Commander comes in and he has the world by the balls, I thought that is a fucking G.I. Joe moment right there,
Right.
man.
It's a moment, and that's the thing the movie has, is moments.
Wow. I mean, like, there were episodes of the G.I. Joe show where it was one of the other villains who was the main focus and not Cobra Commander, and that's just what's going on here.
Leon-
Commander is the Commander is a secondary villain in this film.
Leon-
and that's for the best, because quite frankly, Jonathan Pryce makes a much better villain than just some guy in a snake mask.
Leon, please tell me what you fucking liked about this, and quit toying around with my fucking balls. Just please tell me what you liked about it.
Well, you know what? I wasn't a huge fan of the cartoon.
All right. But what did you like?
But what Cyrus said is true. Like, not every episode only featured Cobra Commander. So much of what you're saying sounds like, well, this wasn't the episode that I wanted to see. I was like, all right, well, tune in tomorrow. It'll be this episode. I didn't expect to like this at all, because with the first one, I was like, well, I liked it just because it was dumb fun, but that's the best you can say about it.
Yeah.
But with this, there were certain things I thought, you know what, this seems like somebody who actually watched G.I. Joe and liked it and said, like, I want to do something a little more serious and not so ridiculous. And a lot of the action sequences I thought were great. And even, like, in the beginning, when it opened up, I wasn't expecting to like it. I was digging the camaraderie and the first mission they go on, and even the fight stuff was filmed well. And I was like, man, I'm digging this more than I thought. Stuff with Jonathan Pryce, him hamming it up, that was a lot of fun. It wasn't until they got to the RZA that I thought the movie just came to a grinding halt.
That's one of my biggest complaints about the casting in here. They have the organization that Storm Shadow betrayed. The leader of that organization is Blind Leader, and it's the RZA, who, by all respects, is Asian, except for the fact that he's black.
He's a black guy who they aged with a powdered donut all over his fucking face.
Cotton balls.
Yeah. And somebody punched him in the back of the head to make him make him cross-eyed and retarded.
Yeah,
That's
and
one of
getting
those.
cataracts.
That's one of those elements that to me felt like they were just laughing when they were making this. Like, nobody was taking this seriously. They're like, let's make it more like a cartoon, and that type of shit is
But
what,
you know what?
I was actually
couldn't take that,
enjoying.
man.
I can't. No, nobody should take that.
No.
It shouldn't be looked at as funny. It shouldn't be looked at as anything other than fucking god awful. I mean, because at that moment, that's when my heart sunk for everyone who loved G.I. Joe. It's like, wow, you know, out of all the cool characters that we have in this series, we have Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is supposed to be the fucking badass Batman of the goddamn team. Yet, when we go to this fucking place out of nowhere, from out of nowhere, just out of nowhere, on Mount what the fuck, hanging out at the goddamn Wu-Tang Clan dojo, I'm like, okay, where did this scene come from? And why the fuck is Snake Eyes taking fucking mentor lessons from a goddamn RZA?
From a fake Asian guy.
Why is he taking lessons from a blind blues singer?
Yeah, like, I got no shit from a blind rapper who should be rapping.
It's so bad because, I mean, in the RZA's trying... The RZA wants to be Asian so bad, man.
God. Yeah, he does.
And he talks in that bad accent. Oh, Storm Shadow. Because he has a lisp, too. So he's talking with a lisp and at the fake accent.
He's got his own diction to deal with to begin
Oh,
with.
Storm Shadow. We are not the ones who betrayed you.
I know.
Somewhere the RZA's like, oh, fine, a white man can do it on TV for like 12 years, but a black man tries to be an Asian, and you're all
It does not work.
And
No,
that's the thing.
he disgraced the Wu-Tang Dojo. He did.
I was having fun with the movie despite myself. I'm like, man, this is going to be all right. And it got to that, and I was like, shit.
No, that was a movie 43 moment right there. It really was.
Because that whole plot point was just like, what are you guys doing? Get off this. It slowed the movie down. It was bad.
It came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere.
I
And I
felt
was
like both
get
you
off
guys
it.
were taking this film too seriously. Like you were taking it seriously but enjoyed it, and you were taking it seriously but you hated it. And I wasn't taking it seriously at all and was just laughing my ass off all the way through
The
this
problem
film.
was like once that scene came, I felt like everything else just started to slow down. And I was just kind of looking at it like, well, damn, it was fun for a while, but then it picked up again because that scene, all that was leading up to the big mountain fight with the ninjas on the mountain,
Which was pretty
And I thought
cool.
that was cool as
That
shit.
was
I
pretty
like,
cool.
That's the only thing I will give you in this movie that was had like the excitement and just what you wanted. You know, when you watch that scene, I'm like, man, I hope they're not showing me everything in the trailer that which I understand why they did that. But when I was watching that scene, I was totally engaged. I was like, wow, this is just some really cool fighting scenes on a mountain that I've never seen this before. And the fact that that scene alone felt like it was directed by somebody else.
That's what I was telling you. I walked out. I said, I want to know. Okay, so you've seen this in the theaters, probably, people, where it set up a trailer. They show you a 4-minute action sequence of Storm Shadow having to fight.
It's Snake Eyes.
And they're traversing a mountainside. And Ray Park who was in Star Wars as what's his name?
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul is Snake Eyes here. But that scene. That's a movie within a movie. I asked you. I said I want to know who directed that because that's not the same director.
It's not.
Man.
It can't
or
be.
They had somebody come in and just choreograph, storyboard, and just pretty much get it down to where before they even started running the camera, they had that thing. They had it perfect, and then that's when they filmed it.
Yeah, and the reason why it sticks out is because when you watch the rest of the fighting scenes in G.I. Joe, you notice they're doing that same old shit that everyone can't stand with the up close camera angles. Things are too dark. You can't see who's shooting, what's going on.
That's the only really great
and it's so
fight in-
chaotic.
That's the
I
only
actually
really
found
great
that they
fight
were
in the
doing
whole
some of it, enough to notice it, but not as much like Olympus Has Fallen did a lot more.
It seemed like the same to me.
No. Because I was looking for it, and the fight between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, there's plenty of I could make out.
But
and I
that
could
was
see it.
but again, that's in that sequence where it feels like it was done by another action director or a stunt coordinator, somebody who knows that
even
well.
the fight, but just between them in the hallway, I thought was still way over edited and everything. I was like, come on, man, these guys could be anybody under those masks. Get some fucking Asians who know how to fight. You see them in movies all the time, coming from Hong Kong and Thailand. Film them from above and the side, and just let these motherfuckers do the crazy shit they do instead of having to edit it around them.
I don't know,
it's
man.
not till the repelling fight that you're like, okay, that was awesome.
Well, that's imaginative too,
Yeah.
because that's where the most of the creativity in the movie goes. That's why I'm thinking it just feels like it was written by somebody else, because where everything just felt kind of standard except for some of the CG effects, which, I mean, you say what you will about these Hasbro movies, Transformers, even Battleship. A lot of work goes into the CG effects and some of the action sequences with those. But this one, it had Snake Eyes having to. They've knocked out Storm Shadow, and they're trying to carry him back to the G.I. Joe base, where the fuck that is, and they're fighting ninjas while Storm Shadow is sliding down, the rope, and he's not conscious, and
Yeah, he's taking a body bag.
Yeah, he's in a body bag, and they have to go between stopping him from pretty much getting killed to fighting all these ninjas who were trying to stop them, and it's to me. That's an incredible sequence.
It's
I
awesome.
loved it.
It's badass. But can we talk about Retirement Joe for a second?
Yeah, now that was bringing
Yeah.
Bruce Willis
You know,
into
the
this.
best I can say about that was it wasn't as painful as I expected it to be.
It was about as painful as I expected it to be, and he's still living in his house from Red, apparently.
That's what we said.
I know.
Same fucking
That's all we said. Yeah. When the moment he's like, "You mind if I call some of my buddies?" I was just so waiting for Morgan Freeman to
John
walk
Malkovich to
and
come
John
walk.
Malkovich to walk in the door. It would have made a lot more sense than
It would have made sense.
than the thin fucking character plot that they gave him, which, I mean, I was like, this is a guy who didn't need to be in the movie, honestly, at all. There's no reason for him to be in there besides
added nothing.
it's Bruce Willis. Yeah, it added absolutely nothing to the story.
This is saying something. He actually gets the worst lines of anybody in this whole film, and that's a massive accomplishment for this film, to be the guy that they just dumped the worst shit they wrote. Lines that are so bad that there was a point where he said this line about Girl Scout cookies. I don't even remember the exact line. And the theater, it was obviously supposed to be a joke, like, aha, no one in the audience laughed. And there's this pause for like 5 seconds. Everyone just kind of, and then people started laughing because no one was laughing and how horrible of a joke it was.
I see, we're all over the place here because
this movie's all over the place.
But I didn't really like Bruce Willis in the movie because he didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But it made sense to me. I mean, if you wanted to consider the toy line, which was started, 1964 or something like that. So you could consider Bruce Willis to be the 12-inch dolls, and he's fighting with the 6-inch dolls.
He was pre-Kung Fu Grip.
There you go.
Maybe if he was the size of those Prometheus guys, it would make sense. I don't know.
And pre-lifelike hair.
In a concept wise of bringing in the original Joe, I'm like, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
And even for Bruce Willis being that guy, cool casting, but they do nothing with it.
No.
Just
They
kinda
had the
lame.
idea and no place to go with
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, if they gave him some kind of cool backstory or gave him some story of that he knows who Cobra is and that he's like, oh, I've been aware of this team for a while, and here I've done my homework here. This is who we're dealing with.
Right.
Maybe that would have made some sense.
And you know what? And I mean, you're right, Cyrus. It is faithful to the cartoon to a fault because there's a part where they imprison what's this called? Storm Shadow. And they imprison him with all his weapons, his suit and everything, so that he can escape.
Well, it's like
when he escapes, he can also automatically just start
I
killing
love
people.
all right, so they fall back on that old, Asian people, they're so zen, they can stop their hearts. And okay, that's fine, except they just explained to us, not 5 minutes beforehand, with a fun little cameo from Walton Goggins, how they're injected with this drug that makes them completely paralyzed.
But Asians are immune to it.
Yeah. He's a karate man. He can get that toxin out of his blood.
But this film is filled with so many moments like that there's continuity errors, and then there's continuity errors almost within the same sentence of the plot. and G.I. Joe does it so consistently that, like I said, I couldn't help but think after a while, I don't know if you guys are just wildly incompetent or you're doing this on purpose and snickering, but there's a point I'm like, this is a bad movie that is a very definition of a good bad movie. I'm like, I'm laughing. I don't know if I'm laughing at it or with it, but either way, I am actually having a good time.
I'm like that. I mean, when they imprison Storm Shadow in his uniform along with all his weapons, I said that's something that they would do in the cartoon because they wouldn't want to redraw the character.
Exactly.
So I'm like, you know what? I'll take that. I don't think it makes sense, but okay, whatever. Listen, there's like I said, my biggest fault with this is for all those moments that they got right. There's so many other moments that they got wrong that they could have gotten right. So it really was frustrating to me. But overall, I mean, if you combine it with some of the things that I did like here, along with that big action sequence that they had in the middle that we were just bragging about, and who is it that played Lady J?
Adrian Pilecki?
Yeah,
she's gonna be Wonder
she's the
Woman.
girl.
Yeah.
She's the girl who played Wonder Woman
she
in
was
that
gonna be
failed
Wonder Woman?
pilot. Yeah.
Actually, I thought she was really good in it.
I did too.
I
Yeah.
liked her a lot in this.
I liked her. I just didn't like the fact that after a while, her character just became like a joke for Bruce Willis's character.
Well, that was near the end of the movie, but for the most part,
even then, she was one of the few characters that had a personal arc that actually felt like it had something to
As a
it.
matter of fact, she did this one thing where he said something like, all right, she's going to be on my team. And I'm sure it wasn't a script, but she did this double take that kind of shudder like, the fuck? What? I kept laughing about 5 minutes after it was over with.
well, if you look at Scarlett from the last movie, she was just meant to be pursued by Damon Wayans, and that was the big joke. I mean, actually,
No, she was there for the co-host to lust after.
Oh, that
right.
well,
Yeah.
Well, for me too. Well, don't forget me. but
Hopefully, she'll be in the third one.
yeah, no. Well, don't do that because Marlon Wayans will be back too.
No, he got a dishonorable discharge for being in fucking a haunted house. Yeah, you get kicked out of the fucking military real quick for that shit.
But this, I give it a rental. I mean, it's fun in certain parts. Again, better enjoy it if I saw it without having to put the effort to go see it at a theater.
I went in with very low expectations, and I had fun with this despite everything it should have been. Is there a better G.I. Joe movie to be made? Hell yeah. This doesn't hit it. It has a lot of failings, especially most of them you guys have brought up. And Cyrus is right. It's a bad movie, and yet it's got enough stuff to where, I don't know. I didn't come out hating. As a matter of fact, I had fun with the first half of it. Okay. Second half, it kind of wore me out. But I don't know. It's enough for me to give it a low matinee.
All right.
You know, I'm in the exact reverse in that, like, the first half had me just rolling my eyes, and then the second half was where it picked up for me. And I was like, okay, now I'm actually having a good time with this. It just got so goofy that I was like, fuck it, I'm with you. They go so far down the ladder to the, like, silliness of Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s that I'm able to laugh at what they maybe fell backwards into achieving here. I mean, I did. I laughed through most of this film and ended up coming out of it kind of jazzed and happy, but maybe not the ways that they were hoping for.
Were you drunk?
No, I was totally sober.
That would make a lot more sense.
Stick to my rule. So I actually give this a low matinee too, unbelievably.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
there we go.
I know you mad at me because I know you.
No, I'm not mad at you. No, your review made complete and total sense. It's just listening to all you guys, it seems like we are all over the place about what we thought about this movie. You, Leon, loved the first half. You, Cyrus, hated the first half, loved the second half. I mean, and you, Corey, I mean, we both kind of see eye to eye with the flaws. We both saw it together, and I think we were both groaning and we were both laughing at the same moments in the movie.
It makes sense.
But you know, saying that, with a G.I. Joe movie like this, especially something that I got hyped, especially looking at the trailers, like, wow, they finally are bringing it full front and center. Cobra Commander's going to be there. He's going to have all those crazy, like, Cobra vehicles in front of the White House. We're going to have the Joe team, like, grab their fucking guys from the ranks, pull them from the ashes, and a full-on assault on the Capitol with fucking shit falling out of the skies, goddamn all kinds of vehicles, just an all-out war in front of the Capitol.
So what you're saying is there wasn't enough Cobra Commanders?
And I didn't get any of that. What I got was a movie that was just completely scatterbrained. Really didn't do much with any of the characters. Sure, The Rock was okay, but he wasn't anything special in this. The villains were just there, and I don't know. Besides the repelling ninja fight scene, I didn't have any kind of fun with this movie. I was groaning half the time, and now, I don't know. Oh man,
what's your rating?
I'm giving it a rental.
You sure?
It had
Are you sure?
moments, but
You sure you don't want to just pull out the sum of bullshit because you seem right there?
Can we just let him have a one-time only rating of not enough Cobra Commander? Just a one-time only
You know
rating.
what? We should pool our money together and hire a guy to dress up like Cobra Commander.
And we'll edit
come his
him into-
birthday.
please don't. You know, whatever you do, don't give him that fucking dress that they gave him in this movie, because that motherfucker was walking like Angelina Jolie half the time. I'm like, come on, Cobra Commander doesn't walk like that. He
you
walks
know
like
what?
this.
Even though he sounds more like a man in this movie. I know he made you
Yeah, he
mad
does.
in the cartoon. He's like, hey, stop it!
That's the other thing. I wanted to hear him.
And now he's like Inspector Gadget. I'm gonna get you, Joe.
No, I was looking at the cartoon. I thought, is that Skeletor under that mask?
I only have one last thing to say. Retreat!
Let's move. World ain't saving itself.